Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome to yet another Cutter Top 10 FIFA video. And today, as I'm taping this on Friday, June the 19th, 2026, I'd like to say a special hello to my American friends who are celebrating Juneteenth, for the day that the Emancipation Proclamation came out and all that. So, finally, America gets a holiday in June 19th, to celebrate this moment and all that. And of course, they're playing soccer right now as I am taping this and winning as I know it. And of course, you know how envious I am as a Canadian because we don't have any holidays in June. Well, Quebec does, Saint Jean Baptiste, but the rest of Canada doesn't. We have to wait till July 1st for Canada Day. Nevertheless, uh, we are going to be looking at the top 10 World Cup games from the first round of group stages. Well, of course, there's 12 groups of four, and they play three matches. This is the best of match day one, as in the first match plays and all that. So it's not so easy and all that to pick 10, but I've picked 10. And here we go. Number 10 is Qatar 1, Switzerland 1, and all that. So Qatar and Switzerland were battling each other in Group B. Of course, this is Canada's group, and Canada's match with Bosnia and Herzegovina is on this list. Anyway, Qatar and Switzerland played each other, and Switzerland had a 1-0 lead. But then late in the game, Qatar put up a goal to tie the game at 1 and shock Switzerland. This was Qatar's first World Cup point. Their only trip to the World Cup was 2022 when they hosted it and went 3-out and basically were the worst team in the whole thing. And Qatar became the second host team to fail to get out of the groups into the knockout stages. 2010 with South Africa, although South Africa did beat France and screwed them over. But yeah, Qatar finally got a point and all that. And yes, I do realize that there were some matches of the yesterday for in cycle two, if you will, and Qatar played Canada and all that. But as of right now, you know, nothing much has happened. Number 9 is Brazil 1, Morocco 1. So, anyway, Brazil took on Morocco on last Saturday. And Morocco, who were the first African nation to make the semifinals in a World Cup and kept trying and trying and trying to host the World Cup and get to co host with Portugal and Spain in 2030, took the lead on Brazil 1-0. It was just shocking that Morocco would do that. And a lot of people say Morocco lost momentum from 2022. I mean, they had some good defense and all that and took down Spain and Portugal in the knockout stages until they were lost the semis, but became the first African team to make the semifinals. Not even Roger Milla's 1990 Cameroon or 2010 Ghana, who got robbed on African soil next to Uruguay, did it. So anyway, Morocco and Brazil tied 1-1. It was just shocking. I mean, Morocco still got the momentum. Number 8 is France 3, Senegal 1. So France and Senegal played each other, and this was a repeat from 2002 in the first group stage match, which was technically the first match of the 2002 World Cup, when Papa Bouba Diop, RIP, scored the only goal against France to make it 1-0 for Senegal, and it was shocking. Senegal got all the way to the quarterfinals. They beat Sweden on what they called the golden goal, as in the first goal in extra time won it. But then Senegal got golden goals themselves by Turkey. But anyway, France and Senegal would play each other. But unfortunately, unlike 2002, Senegal could not finish the job. They did score a goal, but they gave up three, including two to Kylian Mbappe. But Mbappe's goal, after Senegal made it 2-1, Mbappe, like seconds later, took the ball from outside the box and swirled it. A world class goal to score France's win. And with that goal, Mbappe, that's his 14th World Cup goal, which sets the record for most goals by a French player at the FIFA World Cup. The record had been held since 1958 by Jules Fontaine, and he did it in one freaking tournament. People forget that Jules Fontaine scored 13 goals in one tournament. Not even the greats, not even Gerd Muller or Ronaldo or Miro Klose or even Mbappe or Messi had ever done that, or CR7 for that matter. Speaking of 7, that's what number 7 is. England 4, Croatia 2. Yeah, I know. You're probably thinking that I was going to be biased, but England in the top 3. Yeah, right. Wrongo. England and Croatia played on Wednesday in a very tight game. I actually had to stay later at work till 3:30. Fortunately, though, that actually worked out in my favor as I got to go to Chuck's Roadhouse, like a bar right close to where I work at Canadian Tire, and then I got to see it with some English fans. And those England fans actually wanted me to come back for England's second match on Tuesday against Ghana. I unfortunately will be a little bit late because I work till 4 o'clock on Tuesday, but I'm close by. I can go there after work. So nevertheless, England and Croatia were playing. It was battling. Harry Kane actually took a penalty shot and missed. The goalie saved it. However, the Croatian goalie fell for Kane's fake. The rule of thumb is if you're a goalie, you cannot come off the line. Like your feet have to be on the line until the player has a player touches the ball on his shot. And since Kane faked him out of his underwear, and the Croatian player made had the advantage with a save, so Kane was allowed to take it the second time. He scored 1-0, and then Croatia scored a pair of goals that ticked me off. It was 2-2, but Jude Bellingham and Marcus Rashford put up goals to make it 4-2 England, beating Croatia and giving England some hope. Of course, I'm an England fan, of course. England plays Ghana on Tuesday in Foxborough. Well, I'm happy because England play. My favorite national soccer team plays in my favorite NFL stadium, New England. Number 6, Germany 7, Carousel 1. A lot of people probably think that this should be higher up on this list. Well, no. I mean, Carousel scored a goal, which is nice, and Germany scored 7. Now, so anyway, Germany looked good against Carousel. I won't lie. I'm a German guy too. But anyway, Germany beat Carousel 7-1. Carousel, known in baseball circles for a team an island that produces a lot of baseball icons, including future Hall of Famer, 2026 Baseball Hall of Famer Andrew Jones, and some great Little League World Series teams from Carousel, as I watched a lot in the 2000s. But anyhow, their soccer team made it, shocking a lot of people in the North American groups, and then went to take on Germany. Germany actually had a 1-0 lead, and then Carousel tied it at 1. It was like, oh my God, this is going to be one of the biggest upsets ever. Unfortunately, though, Germany scored 6 straight goals, won 7-1. And all that. And of course, 7-1 reminds everyone of Germany Brazil 2014 semifinals. Carousel has nothing to be ashamed of. At least they scored a goal in their debut match. I mean, Canada hadn't scored a goal in their first 3 matches in history in 1986. So that's something to hang your hat on. And it was not Germany's biggest blowout. And we say, well, they're tied with Germany, Brazil, 7-1. Nope, that's actually false. Not only is this not the biggest blowout in German history, this is not the most goals scored in a match in Germany World Cup history. Those two were in the same match. Germany 8, Saudi Arabia 0 in 2002. I remembered that, but I forgot the year. But yeah, Germany beat Saudi Arabia 8-0 in 2002. So it's not the largest deficit, largest margin of victory, or most goals by a German team. Number 5, Haiti 0, Scotland 1. I rag on Scotland. Everyone knows about this when I do my World Cup videos and all that. I ran on Scotland. I mean, 1974 onwards. But yeah, Scotland, 8 trips to the World Cup, 8 trips home with no knockout games. Their history: 1954, they thought that Switzerland was going to be cold. They wore these wool shirts, but Switzerland reached triple digits in Fahrenheit, of course. I have to say Fahrenheit. 1958, they couldn't get past France. 1974, they got through. They didn't lose a game against Zaire, or now it's known as DR Congo. Yugoslavia, now known as, well, a lot of things like Croatia and Serbia, if you will, and Brazil. But Scotland did not make it out of the group stage because of the fact that they beat Zaire 2-0, whereas Brazil beat them 3-0. And that goal actually cost them. Yugoslavia was number 1 because they beat the tar out of Zaire 9-0. So yeah, so Scotland was screwed. 78, they ended up losing to Peru, tying freaking Iran, which was the death blow. They beat the Dutch, but the Dutch put their B team on. And Scotland had to win by 3 goals to qualify, and they only won by 1. 1982, they got screwed on goal differential against the Soviets. Scotland actually gave up 2 goals to New Zealand, which actually was the catalyst. 1986, they were booted off the pitch by Uruguay. 1990, they fumbled against Costa Rica. They beat Sweden, but they fumbled against Brazil. And in '98, they had no chance. So this was Scotland's first game since 1998 in the World Cup. It's kind of weird how Scotland almost didn't even make the 32 team format of the World Cup, but they made it once, the first year that it's happened. Anyway, Scotland won 1-0 over Haiti. Haiti was making their first World Cup appearance since '74. Yes, they made the World Cup before. In 1974, they were one of the CONCACAF representatives, and they even scored a goal on Dino Sofavili in breaking his 1100-minute clean sheet streak, or shutout streak, if you will. But yeah, Scotland won the game 1-0. Their first goal since 1998, and their first win since 1990. They had gone 3-0 in '98. It was amazing. It was a win 36 years in the making. And if Scotland could just pull through in their next game, they're safe. Number 4, Mexico 2, South Africa 0. This was the first official game of the 2026 World Cup and all that. I know you probably think it was number 1, but it's not. Anyway, Mexico had a 2-0 advantage and all that. Mexico knew South Africa was low on the list. They did meet in 2010 in the World Cup, if I remember correctly. Not the first game. Yeah, the first game. Yeah, Mexico and South Africa had the first game in 2010 in South Africa, and then Mexico returned the favor in 2026. Mexico won 2-0. Raul Jimenez scored the first goal of the tournament. I can't remember who scored the second. But this game will also be remembered for the discipline. Keep your fucking discipline, as John Tortorella said. There were not 1, not 2, but 3 red cards, aka disqualifications, if you will. 2 from South Africa, 1 from Mexico. So 3 players were sent off. South Africa were down to 9 players, Mexico down to 10, because you have to have 11 players, including the goalie. So Mexico won 2-0 over South Africa. South Africa yesterday did tie the Czechs 1-1, and Mexico beat Korea on a fluke goal that the Korean goalie spilt. And a lot of people said hurtful things about the Korean goalie. But I mean, it's not as bad as Robert Green for England against the US in 2010 when he basically tried to catch like a fumbling shot by Landon Donovan and scooted through his legs. But yeah, Mexico beat South Africa 2-0, 3 red cards. In fact, there were at that time that actually almost equaled the amount of red cards in the 2022 tournament with 4. Now it's up to 6 as of yesterday. Number 3, Canada won, Bosnia won. Well, Bosnia and Herzegovina. I would say Bosnia for forgot to put the and Herzegovina. So yeah, I know you probably thought Canada was number 1, but no, it's not. Anyway, Canada was hosting Bosnia in T-Dot, or Toronto, if you will. And Alanis Morissette, legendary singer, ironic, jagged little pill, part of You Can't Do That on Television. Yep, and she's part of Kevin Smith movies and all that. She was even on Degrassi for a few episodes. But yeah, Canada and Bosnia were playing. Bosnia scored a goal by Lukic, I think it was. And they even had the legend Edin Dzeko still on the team and all that. And he's old as fuck. But yeah, Bosnia scored first, and it was like shocking. Like it was almost Italy versus Canada because Italy was supposed to beat Bosnia in the playoff, but didn't. Bosnia didn't. So anyway, Canada scored on a late goal. Kyle Larin, just a few minutes after coming on as a substitute, scores the goal to tie the game at 1, and Canada went into rapture. It was actually big because this was the first time in history Canada got a point in the World Cup, in a World Cup match. They lost all 3 games in 1986 to the Soviets, Hungary, and France, although they held France to 1 goal, which was shocking because France were the defending Euro champs. In 2022, they did score against Croatia, but got blown out. They lost 1-0 to Belgium and lost 2-1 to Morocco. So Canada finally got a World Cup point. Not a win, but a point. That's good enough. And of course, everyone knows what happened yesterday against Qatar and Canada winning 6-0. But yeah, we're doing it based off of the first group stage games and all that. So yeah, Canada got a point, and that's great. Number 2 is Argentina 3, Algeria 0. A lot of people will be thinking, why are you putting an Argentina game ahead of a Canada game? Well, it's because of one dude named Leo freaking Messi. Messi finally got his World Cup in 2022, beating France in the greatest World Cup final of all time. And it's not recency biased. I mean, the drama of Argentina-France in the final was amazing. Unfortunately, I couldn't watch that game because, it landed on church time, and that's a no-no. Anyway, so yeah, Argentina beat Algeria 3-0. All three goals were scored by Leo Messi. He put up a hat trick. It was amazing. And Leo Messi's hat trick actually tied him with Miro Klose of Germany with 16 goals, with the most in World Cup history. So think about it. Messi's hat trick ties him with Miro Klose. His next goal will be the record breaker that it's been around since 2014. And number one by a long shot, Spain versus Cape Verde, 0-0. Actually, no, I'm going to change it. Number one is Spain 0, Cape Verde 0, and Portugal 1, DR Congo 1. Spain and Portugal are eternal rivals and neighbors, if you must know. If you look at the map of Europe, you look at the lower southwest, you'll see a tiny square country like Portugal, and then the big country of Spain. You can't miss it. Spain and Portugal are rivals and neighbors and all that, and they both choked in their first group stage game. Portugal, not as much as Spain, but Portugal 1-1 with DR Congo. But I mean, come on, it's DR Congo and all of that. You shouldn't be screwing up to an African nation, much less a nation that's not as big as like Nigeria or Cameroon and all that. I mean, if you tie Nigeria or Cameroon, it's no big deal. But anyhow, that's what happened to Portugal. They ended up tying DR Congo 1-1, and a lot of people said their reliance on CR7 is just shocking. So CR7 aside, Portugal needs to do better and all that. A lot of Portuguese fans are not too happy about that 1-1 result, and I don't blame them one freaking bit. But what's even worse is their neighbor Spain not scoring a goal against Cape Verde. At least they didn't lose. Cape Verde, those islands off the west coast of Africa and all that. I don't really know much myself. Shocked everyone by making it through the African qualifiers and facing Spain, who everyone, including EA Sports and probably Paul the Octopus up in heaven, would say. But yeah, Spain pulled it off. Everyone thought, okay, well, easy win, all that. Nope. Cape Verde basically took them to the woodshed. Lamel Yamal and a few other people couldn't do it. Spain 0-0 tie. Now, I know a lot of Spanish fans are upset and all that and thinking the tournament, they're big fat phonies. But let's not forget that Argentina last year, first group stage game against Saudi Arabia, how did that go? They lost 2-1, and they still won the World Cup. They did what the 2010 Spanish did. Spain lost 1-0 to Switzerland, but they still won the World Cup. So it's not like over after one game, to be fair to all the Spanish fans. And what's even more impressive was that Cape Verde goalie, who's 41 years old, same as me, and kind of came in through a LinkedIn thing, got 12 million Instagram followers after the game. 12 million as of today. Like, holy fuck. He only had 500,000 before the first group stage game, and now he's up to 12 million. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the pressure he's under for the next two games? But yeah, Spain choking against Cape Verde in a way is definitely one of the worst, and basically the magic moment. Of course, there will be a top 10 about the second group stage games. So stay tuned. I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.